Hey guys, today we are out showing you a little bit about the neighborhood, what's going on out here, some of the projects that are happening in the Cape Coral area. But the biggest thing to note is that the real estate market is constantly changing throughout Florida, throughout Southwest Florida, and obviously here in Cape Coral. So we're going to talk about some of the things and how it affects the people that live here already and how it affects those that will be coming here. Okay, so as you can see behind me is a large apartment complex that's being put in. This thing, it's going to have hundreds of doors, and it's about a mile down the road from another project just like it. Go down the road another mile, you've got another one. They seem to be coming up everywhere, but this is part of what is taking over the Cape Coral area. Housing has been a problem, a shortage for quite some time. As I said, the market's always changing, and we're going to be talking about all those changes because they're going to affect you some way or another. Even local businesses are being affected, and we're going to talk about that. But we're going to start off just by talking about some of these properties that are on the market now. These are rentals, so that part we're not going to get around. We'll talk about rental pricing in a minute. But for single-family homes, you can see pretty much anywhere around, there's homes that are either being built or for sale. It's just what it is. And this is every neighborhood, every place. The numbers have fluctuated. Pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, prices have gone up and down. We've seen rate changes, and all those things are changing actively. And even the rates, we're going to talk about that in a minute. You're going to find out exactly what's going to happen. But as far as homes go, single-family homes, I looked at this in two ways. One, median pricing, one as far as average price that was sold. Now the median is literally the midpoint between the lowest and the highest. And right now we're at 400,000 right in that area for the median pricing. Now the average price single family home that's selling here is 500,000. So that's just basically telling us the majority of the people out there are looking for nice homes, nice fixtures, and nice areas, because 500,000 is going to get you that. If you are on the lower end of that, you know, it's going to depend on what the age of the home is, what the condition is, and where it's located. But that is what's happening for single family housing. And inventory levels, you know what? The inventory's been falling the last few months. So this whole thing about we're exploding with inventory, well, yeah, it went up a couple months in a row, but it's right on its way back down. And that's even with all this new construction. You see all the new construction no matter where you go, and not all of it's listed right away. Some of it will get listed later. Some agents are smart enough to wait until it's finished, because many people don't have the ability in their brain to see what a home is going to look like when it's finished. So that's why these inventory levels fluctuate the way they do. Our biggest concern isn't necessarily the inventory, because inventory is going to be there to some degree. It's going to be a matter of what you're willing to either sacrifice to get it, or how long you're going to wait to get it. But there is going to be a constant supply, whether it's new construction, whether it's resales. And as soon as these rates adjust, you're going to see a lot of sellers putting their homes in the market so that they can too go ahead with the plans that they had. Now, as far as interest rate changes, everybody's been waiting, right? They're talking about September. We're supposed to get a rate change. Well, you know what? All of the larger companies out there that have analysts that research all this stuff, they're all predicting anywhere from 6 to 8 adjustments in 2025. So if you're somebody that's really, really waiting on a rate change, you know what? This next year could be huge for that. So hang in there, and I'm sure we're going to get to that very, very soon. Okay, guys, now that we talked about the real estate market, housing market, and where it's going, we're now here in one of our subdivisions. It's just a normal residential subdivision with Joe Stone's Park. Yes, now, normally in the evenings or in the mornings, you'd find a bunch of people running around here, exercising, kids playing in the playground. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it looks like we've got some impending storms. So I'm trying to get all this information in for you before I get hit, but I wanted to get in the shade in the meantime to try to keep a little cooler. But what I wanted to talk about was how this housing market is affecting the actual homeowners that are already here and the renters, because that's something we forget about. Now, there was a great adjustment from when the pandemic happened with home pricing, right? It went through the roof. And people were overjoyed at the price of their home going up so much. But what they weren't overjoyed about was the insurance costs going up, the taxes going up, and everybody was up in arms about how much more it costs now to live here. Okay, it doesn't cost you any more to live here per se. The insurances are just protecting your property, and the taxes, well, that's kind of what's due. When you make money, you pay more money, right? So one of the things that I did find out when I'm trying to get you the numbers of what's going on in this market and what is actually happening, because again, I'm a real estate agent and I cover the Southwest Florida area. If you guys need any help with anything real estate related, please reach out to us. Call, text, email, Zoom call, all of it. We're available to you. Anyway, one of the things I had to go in and analyze was, what's pricing doing right now? What is it really telling us? So over the last 12 months, I wanted to look at the average price, sale price, and the median sale price, because those two things are directly relative to what you're going to spend on a home. We are seeing a little bit of an adjustment of inventory. It has been going down over the last few months. September on this chart is actually going to show a little bit of a bump up because the month just started. So it kind of like prorates it over the course of the month. So you'll see that level off right around where all the other past months have been. All right, so again, homeowners, you may be affected by some of these rising costs, but I got some good news. The insurance companies, 6 insurance companies are taking over about 195, slightly over 195,000 policies from Citizens. Citizens is a state-run insurance company that handles a ton of policies. This is great news because these 6 companies taking that on is going to level the playing field for the cost of the insurance. And you may find that you're going to get a decrease. And here's the best part. If your policy gets transferred to one of these companies and their rate is higher and you don't want to take that on, go back to Citizens. They'll allow you to do it. So things are changing, things are on the horizon. And as far as I can tell, looking at all the different activity out there, it's across the board. We're going to see change constantly. It'll go up, it'll go down. You got to hit the timing that's right for you. We already talked about the rate changes. We talked about the inventory. So you can see that things are changing. And all we have to do now is hold tight for what fits our scenario best. Now, the people that are going to get hurt a little bit more are the first-time home buyers. And the reason behind that is most times they don't have money to put down when they're buying a home. And many of the programs out there, while they do help that situation, the costs of the things like the insurance and the taxes are still going to elevate all their expenses. So I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but there's possibilities to still get it done, but you just have to be really diligent on who you're working with to make sure that they're crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's. Now, that brings us to another point. I'm not going to talk about this in depth, but another thing that affects these first-time home buyers is the new rule about compensating real estate agents. Because if the seller is not willing to compensate a real estate agent, it falls on the buyer. Well, if this buyer barely has enough money to put down, how are they going to pay a real estate agent a commission? It makes it really tough. So that's something we can delve into a little bit deeper if you'd like. Comment down below if you want to hear more about that or discuss that in further detail. But that is a reality that is going to affect first-time homebuyers at some point. Now, the last category is the renters. Okay, we saw that rental project. I told you there are many, many of those projects going on here in Cape Coral. There's got to be at least a dozen just within the last 2 years. There's probably 3 or 4 that are actively being built right now. So it is constant evolution, and they're all rentals. There are no condo buildings being built for sale. These rentals, they can be considered luxury in some cases, like the Cove on 47th. They've already adjusted their prices down anywhere from 100 to 300 just in the last couple months. I keep tabs on them because I wanted to buy one of those units. I wanted to be able to have the walkability factor for downtown Cape. I thought it was a great idea, but they won't sell them. But what you need to know about the rental market is in the last 120 days, that's the last 4 months, there have been about 125 to 130 single-family homes that have rented for $2,000 or less per month. That's a big number. That's a nice number to see because that was out of 426 total units that were rented. A quarter of them, if not slightly more, were $2,000 or less. That's good news. Now, I went to look and see what's actively available for the same parameters, and there's only about 60 single-family homes currently active on the market, $2,000 or less per month. So that's telling me that's adjusting a bit, just like the inventory, it's adjusting down. Home prices are leveling off. So if you're one of those people that's been looking for the market to crash and fall out and give you the best opportunity, I gotta say that we've got to be really close to where we're gonna go before it starts going back up. And one of the reasons why I say that is what we discussed with the rate increases or the rate decreases. Those rate adjustments are gonna come at some point. We all know it. We don't know how much, we don't know how fast, we don't know for how long. But when those rate changes happen, there's gonna be a lot of competition in the market again. A lot of the sellers who've been waiting for the rates are going to put their home on the market because they want to upgrade their life too. They want to move to a different home, but they're waiting because they don't want to give up that super amazing interest rate that they picked up a couple years ago. Actually, I'm one of them. I have a fantastic interest rate. I don't want to give it up either. But at some point, it's going to look attractive enough for the things that you want to add to your life that you're going to do it anyway. So renters are going to continue to come. It's a great first option if you're trying to get familiar with the area. Rents in the area, you can get into them starting in the maybe the 1,500 to 1,800 range. That's going to be for a smaller unit, a studio or one bedroom. Then you're going to be up into the 2,000s, and if you go up to a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, you're probably going to be in the 3,000s per month. It's just kind of what it is in these apartment complexes. I'd shop them around. You can go to apartments.com. You can do a local search of apartment complexes. Real estate agents, it's really tough because the inventory for rentals is so messed up in our system, given that we have so many seasonal rentals. So what happens there is many of these rentals stay on the market all year long, and you have to call each and every one of them to find out what the availability is. That is super time intensive, and to be quite honest with you, there really isn't any money that comes back to a real estate agent to put all that time in. So I try to direct people the best I can on how you can go about that rental process, but there are many more options than there were before, so get after it and you might find exactly what you're looking for. Okay guys, this time we are at a shopping plaza. This is the Surfside Plaza. One of the reasons why I wanted to stop here is this. As you can see, if you look around, you know, parking lots randomly open, randomly filled. There are some retail shops here for clothing. There's some restaurants. There's some doctor and dental offices. And there's one of a lot of people's favorites. My son spends a lot of time down here, believe it or not. But yeah, right there's a Starbucks. So what I wanted to talk about with this is commercial is the next place that's affected. You think the residential housing market has nothing to do with it? Well, commercial is affected right after. It follows the trends as we go up, it follows us up, and as residential goes down, it follows us down as well. They are synonymous, they work together. And one of the things that we're recognizing is that these businesses, their prices have gone up too. All their expenses have gone up too. And what happens when expenses go up? They have to charge us more, right? Have you noticed that things are a little bit more expensive, especially if you go out to eat? Another thing we've noticed is that people are having trouble, businesses are having trouble getting staffing. We've had a couple occasions where we couldn't even be seated as we arrived because there wasn't enough staffing to use up all of the restaurants. So these are challenges that are going to happen even on the commercial side of things. So as much as we want to see things adjust down and prices come down, we have to help out this side of things too. And some of those wages being earned, I know everybody wants to make more money, but you know, $15 to flip burgers and to serve food and stuff seems a little excessive for some businesses. And don't jump on me for this, but I get it. You work hard doing that. I was a kid, I had that job too, but for $3.30 an hour. Now, yes, this was decades ago, but I don't know. This is just the direction things are going, so I have to speak about commercial because it's part of the real estate business as well. And these are some of the places that are getting hit the worst, especially the mom and pop places. Maybe they're not getting as much of the foot traffic as some of the bigger places. Like a Starbucks, they're always going to get foot traffic, right? National known name, everybody loves it for some odd reason. I've heard for those die-hard coffee drinkers that it's not the greatest coffee, but I guess they like the choices of whether it's going to be a frappuccino or a cappuccino or a I don't know, venti or whatever else. I don't know all the terminology, but that's something that they're after. You see also in here we have some salons in here. We have some resale places like a Goodwill, a Dollar Tree, dermatology place. So all kinds of different things. There's an ice cream place. Keg and Cow is supposed to be really good for if you're into beer and burgers. So lots of stuff here. But all of them are affected the same exact way because their expenses are all going up. Now, one thing that's a little different for us here is we get seasonal traffic. Seasonal traffic for us could mean a bump of 25% of our population. I mean, there's a lot of people that come in for seasonal means. They love the weather here. You can't beat Florida in the wintertime. It is the most beautiful weather ever. And if you can be outside more than you can be inside and experiencing sunshine and waterfront, I think you're going to want to jump on that. And that's why we have so many seasonal visitors, and that will affect all these places. That's where they get the biggest bump in the year for their books. They make the most money in those 4 to 5 months. So if you're somebody that is going to be opening a business here, you will need to consider you're going to have seasonal traffic. In fact, I'm going to see Sean here in a little bit at Cape Cuts to get this rug on my head cut up, and he tells me all the time, you know, until these people start coming back for season, it's been a little bit of a lean summer. I've got a few friends that are in their own small businesses, and they're saying the same thing. So seasonal visitors, for all those people that poo-poo and complain about you being here, other than driving in the left-hand lane going under the speed limit, that's my only gripe with you. Just stay right and stay out of the way, and we'll get along just fine. Now, one of the things that we are experiencing too, and we have to talk about the workforce when we talk about commercial, is the people that work in these businesses. It can get unaffordable with where things were going before. So yes, I agree, our prices have pushed a lot of people further away from where they work, or have made them really stretch their dollars in order to live there. But those things, as I just mentioned, the pricing seems to be coming down. If you're somebody that rents, just hold tight. It's going to happen sooner than later. But, oh, there's a smell you'll get used to smelling here if they pass that new law. A little bit of Mary Jane in the air. Anyway, those people are having a little bit more of a difficult time staying in the area, staying close to work, but that's just one of the adjustments we have to make until we have a full recovery. And you know what a full recovery is going to be, right? Yeah, a change in administration. But that's all I'm going to say. Okay, guys, and lastly, one of the things that we're going to talk about is the prediction of what's going to happen in the market. As you can see, the storm just keeps following me, and it's going to get me if I don't hurry this up. But anyway, I'm in another residential neighborhood. This is where my son used to play his baseball, and just thought this would be a great little neighborhood to wrap this up, because this is where we're going to talk about what buyers and sellers can expect for the future. We do see stabilization continuing over this next year. We're going to see again those potential rate drops, and that could cause a little bit more of some anxiety in some of our buyers and sellers, and they may be more willing to act thinking they might miss out on something. But inventory levels should be higher to give you more options, but just know that all the good stuff is going to go quickly, always does. Now, a couple tips for you home buyers and home sellers. We're going to start with the home buyers. Get pre-qualified. Know what your numbers are. Know what kind of home you can afford, and find out what's most important to you and what you're willing to give up if you can't get exactly what you want. As far as home sellers, be reasonable with your price. Do not aim for the stars. Seriously. I see so many overpriced homes right now, and they sit and sit and sit. I have some friends up in Pennsylvania. They're going to list a property up there, and you know the first thing that the husband said to me, hey, if I sell this on my own, do you think I should give up 6%? Obviously, we don't like to talk about commission rates because that's all changed. However, a home seller on his own wanting to sell, you can offer whatever you want. Obviously, some incentives are bigger than others, and if you're in a position where you're going to be doing that, it's not a bad way to go. But be reasonable with your price. Make sure that you are doing everything you can do to set yourself up to win. This is where listening to your real estate agent can do you a lot of good, as long as you fully trust them and trust what they're doing for you. You got to know what their plan is. You've got to Sit down with them and see the comps for yourself. Don't take it off of a piece of paper. Come on, I can print out 100 pieces of paper and show you what I want to show you. We do it a little bit differently. We have a completely unique system that sets you up to win. So we'll go through that in detail. If you're somebody that's considering selling, we'll show you exactly how it's going to happen, but be realistic for yourself if you want to win as well. And one of the other big things that's going to happen around here, and we're seeing it constantly, is how the area develops and changes, the infrastructure, the new businesses coming in. We continue to discuss all the changes here. That town center, Coral Grove, is going to be coming in. I saw them up there today, some of the planners. All having a meeting up there. The 7 Island project will eventually get underway. The yacht club is going to get underway. Bimini Basin is already well underway, as well as the 47th Cove. So many things. The food truck park. JC Park, we still haven't heard any updates on that, so I don't know what direction that's going. But overall, so many new projects, so many new things going on. And the infrastructure that they talked about that I know of that could be beneficial is putting sidewalks in. Yeah, we're going to get some sidewalks in some neighborhoods, and we're going to get some traffic lights put in instead of 4-way stops. So there's going to be a lot of stuff changing. Hopefully these changes are for the positive and give more options so that even us as homeowners, as residents, can have more options when it comes to how we spend our money. I mentioned about how these businesses have to increase the prices. Well, you know what? If there's more businesses to compete with, then you're probably going to have to adjust your pricing there too. So all this stuff is coming. We don't have exact timelines, but I think everybody realizes here within this next year, it's going to tell us a lot. So if there's anything that I can encourage, it's just that if Florida is something for you and somewhere you want to be, I've heard from so many people saying their dream was to retire in Florida. You don't have to wait to retire to come here. There's plenty of jobs, there's plenty of homes. As you heard, they're adjusting down to make it more affordable. So if this is something you really want, and lastly, I do say this to every single client, you have to take into consideration what you're spending to be here. You're swapping it for lifestyle. So you have to put a price tag on the lifestyle that you're obtaining, because you will live a much better life. You'll be outside pretty much daily, where I don't know there's too many other places that are going to be able to say that, especially once the snow starts. Anyway, I'm about to get blasted on here, so if you have any other questions, want to know anything else about living in the area, check out one of these other videos. And if you've got a specific question that you need an answer to, you got to call, text, email, Zoom call, use the app, whatever it is, contact us. Be more than happy to help you, because we've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast.